Welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show. And Schleg, it's been an eventful day. I had to get some naps in. I mean, it's the last day before. The Buckeyes are reporting for camp today. I haven't been over there yet. Going to get over there and get a quick little mini workout in. Not too much because we're counting down the days. So T minus 2 sleeps until we'll be doing the conditioning test. So I'm probably off the booze for the next 2 days. Make sure my body's running at peak physical condition. The players are going to be making sure they're running at peak physical conditions. They'll be coming in today. They'll be reporting. They'll start their practice tomorrow. So they got that going for them with the Buckeyes. Before we get going on the show, I know AJ today. He is going to be down. The McAfee show's over at the Steelers camp. So maybe we'll try to grab him tomorrow, see how that kind of looks. I'm not sure if they'll be out there again. I'll have to check his schedule. I was going to try to do yesterday, but yesterday was Beebs' birthday, but then I found out she wasn't even there. He wasn't even here to celebrate with her. She's on vacation out in some tropical places. So there's that. So we'll see what we can do, trying to get him set up. Buckeyes practice, like I mentioned, starts tomorrow. Last night I went to my first, like I kind of talked about this, went to my first Major League Baseball game in the state of Ohio in probably about 20 years. The last one I went to, as I kind of talked about, it was with my wife. It was Great American Ballpark. Sadly, I can say I've never been to Progressive Field.
We should do that.
We should. That was before I had kids. I don't even know if I was married yet, to tell you the truth. It was early in my wife and I's relationship, meaning like first 5 years. I could have even been in college. I couldn't tell you. I don't even know. I'll have to see when Great American was built. It was like one of the first couple of years I think it was out there. So we went there, did that, and had a good time. But it'd been 20 years since I'd been back. In the meantime, I'd been to Wrigley. I'd been to Busch, probably like 2010, 2011-ish. I went to both of those, one for a bachelor party, one when I was out in St. Louis with James. It's pretty cool to see some other stadiums. I went to the Dodgers last night, the Reds game. Watched Shohei Ohtani. Lodolo fanned him 3 times. Schleg's 11 Ks and 5 in the third. Was dealing. Really only had one. He gave up 2 hits through 5 in the third, maybe a third later, but had a hit in the third. He fanned the first 3 batters, and then the second he walked somebody, left one hanging, and then he got gave up a 2-run shot. But that was he pitched really well. Struck out Ohtani 3 times, man. The third time I came up, I go, dude, you ain't getting him 3. This is not happening. Fanned him, and place went wild. A lot of Dodgers fans there, but it was a really good time. Went to hit up the casino afterward. The Hard Rock there in Cincinnati is a pretty cool place. They did a really good job with it. Hit that up. Did the morning show from the hotel this morning and made my way on back after. And thankfully, I didn't drive, so I had to hit a nap in the car. Feeling re-energized. But we've got Buckeye practice here, Schlegs, which is exciting to see. Are you going to be out there tomorrow, or are you just coming out Friday? Or what are the plans we're going to be able to get done?
Oh, man. I love how you asked me that question, Bob. So my plans, looking at the old Google calendar here. Now, tomorrow night, I'm emceeing Pelotonia. Their race is coming up. Yeah. And we're pumping it up over at the Hillsheimer residence. And there's going to be 350, 450 people over there. So I'm kind of emceeing that. And you remember Eric from IMG. So we're kind of like doing some stuff together. Dr. Cohen's going to be out there, Dr. Farr, people that we know. And again, it's one of the great reasons of being back in Central Ohio, so we can give back and pay it forward. And I'm just coaching. Literally, this is my day, guys. I wake up at 5:30. I get in the truck by 6, and I don't get home till 8:45 because we got junior high football from 5:15 to 7:30. So and I'm just working at the Armory. We got kids in the building. We got adults in the building. I'm talking about people about what do they want in the facility. I got a guy randomly hit me up. Hey, can we get a decline? I'm like, that sounds like a great idea. Hey, Hack Squat, working on it. I got you guys. We're going to make sure it's right. Got group fitness rolling out. So and we got the event on Saturday. So I'm just doing that. My number one thing is Friday conditioning test, Bobby Carpenter. So that is the number one thing on my radar, Bob. And I'm saving that time for you. And then the Buckeyes, and I'll check out the Buckeyes then. I don't really think I'm going to have a lot of time tomorrow in the morning because I have work to do. I might get out there I got to get with you on the logistics of the time and everything that goes off. But again, we're in shorts, and there's that, as I like to call it, acclimatization period. That's
Yeah.
not acclim-
Add more. That's what my favorite thing
add
for some
more.
coaches. Add more syllables in acclimatization.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It's acclimation. But anyways, they're in helmets.
Climatization.
Yeah, they're they're in helmets, and then they'll go into shoulder pads, and then they'll be in full pads, and that's where I really want to see them. So you run the conditioning test is my number one objective. You celebrating your birthday on Friday is my number two objective, and then having the event on Saturday here at the Armory is the third one. So that's my schedule, and that's what I'm sticking to.
There we go. It'll be a good day. It's gonna be fun. So yeah, I'll be out there. We're gonna do the show out there in the morning juice, and then I'll do that Thursday, Friday. But I'll probably get a little lift in, maybe bring my kids out. Maybe I should have the kids there Friday to come watch the conditioning test so they can see what pain and suffering feel.
Chosen suffering, chosen, like it is chosen, like you chose to suffer through that. Just like, I just did my DEXA scan because we're doing an Armor Up, like kind of like wellness challenge for the
Mm.
next 2 months, where you get a DEXA scan, you meet with our dietitian with some accountability. I got my numbers. Proud to say this, Bob. I'm at 15.1% body fat on the DEXA scan, which is, it's legit, right? I'm 15.1 muscle, and I just look at where I was a year ago.
15.
Body
I feel
fat,
like you should be lower than that. Like that's the worst. I'm usually. I was 13 and I was very disappointed. I feel
it's
like you
different.
should lean.
In body and a DEXA are just completely different. Like,
Okay.
not, here's the deal. And what I say to people is this: just like whatever scale you weigh
It's
on that
the
scale
same
every day.
scale because it's relative to what it is. Whether it's a little heavy or a little light, you always know relatively to where you are.
And, and so to me, it's more of like, what are your goals? I weighed 220 pounds. I did 4 or 5 for 8 sets of 3 on back squat yesterday.
Hmm.
I actually ran pursuit drill. It was terrible.
How bad? Hey,
I mean,
you turn that
there's some
corner and
younger
start legging.
there's
Yeah.
some younger coaches, and I just like, dad gum, like he just ran like 4 reps in a row. I probably should help on this drill, though I don't want to. And so I go over to the far left flank, right? And then coach just throws me the ball, and I just see I have all these little kids running at me, and I'm gonna take off, man. I just kicked
Well,
it, and
the
I
thing
made
is,
a
you
couple
got
I made a couple over pursue, and they
the
fell down. It happens.
but I mean, you've got middle school kids. There's probably some eighth graders in there that are getting close to like their speed. They may not be able to accelerate, but their high end velo probably isn't that far off of yours now.
Well, that's why I never try to get to the high end velo, Bob. I always like to hover around the 87%. I don't ever like to really go above the 90.
Okay.
But you know what, though? Yesterday, it just went back to, it's like, good thing I do collagen and glucosamine Jordan and fish oils, and I train hard so I could just do that 6 times in a row. Felt fine, but it's like, make I I can't wait till we're officially like moved in and start to get settled. And I get a routine, and I can implement some of the things that you do. You run way more than I would ever want to run. But if you don't do it, you lose it. I can still go out and get it because I can accelerate. And that's the thing. Like once you get it, I can accelerate past a lot of them. But the top end, just to be safe, just to be healthy, I got to make sure that I can run a little bit. Now, I'm going to start introducing that more into my program
Yeah, my hammies were a little cooked
personally.
from yesterday. There was a little bit of tenderness yesterday evening and then today.
I got to get you on the sports science, and I'll tell you exactly where you are.
Yeah. I mean, I need to start doing some Nordic curls and things like that. I do a lot of hip dominant
Hip dominant posterior chain.
chain. I need to probably
That's
do a
why
little
you have.
more.
That's why you have a big butt.
No, listen, man. I mean, what's the alternative? No one likes everyone likes a tight end legs. No one likes a loose end, I think is what you would always have
Yeah, I
said.
said that. Yeah, that's facts. It's facts.
No,
6 cylinders, big traps, tight ends.
that's key. So we've got that going for us. So that's a little outline here the next couple of days. So hopefully I'm going to try to get AJ on here tomorrow or Friday. Going to talk a little bit, maybe get some good training camp stories from him. We've got to show him the AJ Hawk trading card and then also the comment about Fick and you. Which Pat, you got to make sure you remind me about that when we get him on. So I'll follow up with him about that today. What I want to do today, Shikes, we've been going through our list. We hit the defensive side of the ball last week, early this week. Hit running backs yesterday before Bill Bender. But offensively, you still have offensive line, still got tight ends, quarterbacks, wide receivers. So really 4 more position groups that we're going to have the ability to dive into. And so since we didn't have a guest today, Schlegs, I want to kind of spend the rest of this segment and maybe the next 2 diving into the offensive line. Because I think that's probably not probably. Urban Meyer came in and always said we're an offensive line dominated program. And it was the first time I'd ever heard that said before. But it's very true. All of the great teams that I've ever been around and been a part of and that I've ever really seen have great offensive lines. They can protect well, they can protect pretty well, but really they're more will imposers. They get push on anyone. And like it's the same goes with defensive line. Like you've got to be stout up front to have a good defense. To have a good offense, I mean, you can have average skill guys and a great offensive line, and you're going to get a lot of yards because you're going to be able to run the football when you need to and when you have to. And my old coach, Anthony Rothman, hated this line because he said all yards aren't created equal. And my dad would say it. He said, we can't get a yard, we don't deserve to win. He's like, that's a cultural thing. And when he was a coach, he's like, we were a running football team. So if it's 4th and 1, we're going for it. Mission critical. Like this is what we do. This is what we major in. And you saw how much Urban did that.
Yep.
Ryan has been starting to bring that back. They've been pushing into that. And I know Fry was a big point of emphasis with him. And Tyler Bowen Schlegs, that's something else that he's been leaning into. And they've got their whole offensive line staff, but developing that toughness. And you saw it manifest itself. The Michigan game was an anomaly. Like it was injuries, moving parts. You're going against 2 great interior defenders, a lot of wind. It was a confluence of a lot of bad things. But what came from that was an offensive line that had an attitude and something to prove. And a lot of young guys who got out there who maybe weren't tested, who you didn't know about yet, but then were able to establish themselves and separate and begin to impose their will, going from Tennessee to Oregon to Texas and ultimately to Notre Dame. And so as we look at that, and everyone remembers the Jeremiah Smith touchdown catch against Notre Dame, the play against Texas, the Jack Sawyer strip sack. You start looking against Oregon and all Jeremiah Smith's like 200 yards in the first half. You look at Tennessee and some of the big plays down the field to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell and those guys. But the reality is all of those games, you go watch them, Schlegs, dominant offensive line play.
Yep.
And especially Texas had a really good defensive line. Oregon had a really good defensive line. Tennessee's was supposed to be one of the top 10 in the country. And they all went there, and you go watch them get movement. You watch them get pushed. There was excellent schematic design. But schematic design only helps you if you're getting movement and push. You can't trick them forever. You've got to be able to dent the defense. And they were able to do that in every game. And they ran it well against Texas. And I would even argue this, the screen that Trey had, it's hat on hat out there.
Yep.
Offensive line, maybe not your traditional tough, go get a yard, but you flip out a screen, hat. You give Trey 7 or 8 yards, then he's getting to the house. Same thing in the when you gave him space. And then obviously we look at Jeremiah Smith and his play against Notre Dame. Quinshon Judkins had a hell of a game. And he was able to get big yards against a really solid Notre Dame defense that was gap sound, good secondary, good up front. And so the offensive line is paramount. And so that's why I want to make sure we get to them. And the blessings that came last year from the fact Josh Simmons tore his patellar tendon. Then you have, who slid out in his place? I can't even remember it now.
Donnie.
Donnie ended up sliding out, but before that it was
he transferred. He transferred to Kansas State.
Oh gosh.
Zed, the Zen Master. Yeah.
The Zen Master, as Schlegs called. So he gets hurt. Then you have to kick Donnie out. Well, what that does is then all of a sudden you need to find some guard stability. Then Seth McLaughlin tears his Achilles. So now you're moving pieces all around. And then you got really competitive. They started rolling guards, and so that's what you were able to see. And you're able to develop those guys. So while they didn't maybe start all year, Schlegs, they started in the most critical games that you played really, really well in. And so we're going to talk about – go ahead.
No, no, I'm looking at our time. Are
Yep,
we long for
because
a
I'm going
break?
to give you the opening monologue as we start next. But first, let's talk about export. Parents and athletes protect what matters most with export mouth guards. They're trusted by professional athletes like Schlegs and I, designed by NHL team dentists. Export mouth guards scientifically tested to help absorb those high impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. You've got 3 layers of advanced protection. You're going to head to the Armory this week. Go to exportguards.com and use Export 20 when you schedule your appointment. They're going to be there this Saturday, August 2nd from 9 to noon. When you go there, you're going to be able to see and look and touch and feel the 3 layers of advanced protection. The patented use of carbon fiber, they 3D print that bad boy, your grill, and your kids are going to see and feel the difference. So go check them out. Get to exportguards.com. Make sure you sign up August 12th, August 2nd, this Saturday, 9 to noon. A lot of great stuff going on. You get 20% off when you use Export 20 as your code to schedule your appointment. All right, coming up next, more of the Bobby Carpenter Show as we break down the offensive line.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. And now, Schlegs, I cut you off. The floor is yours.
You didn't cut me off, buddy, because I actually looked up at the time Doomajig there in the corner of my screen. And here's the thing, one that we can't forget, as you did a really nice job of laying it all out there. 513, what was it? I think it's called Run the Damn Ball 513. That was Penn State. Seth was in that game. And you started to see through the shifting of guys a little bit of that momentum of that in that mindset and that mentality that we can take over a game up front. There started to become a shift around that time of zone versus gap. Okay, gap. I'm going to get a double team on a 2 technique, 3 technique, run up to a linebacker. It's a lot easier for guys, offensive line guys, to know where they got to go. I mean, it's as simpler as opposed to running the zone, getting to the next level, etc. You can do it with older guys. The NFL runs predominantly zone. They'll throw in gap as a mix, but it's more of a zone-based type thing. However, those guys have played a lot of ball. And when you're shifting around a lot of guys, you want to keep it simple. It's the same thing we talk about on defense. So as they started to implement more gap principles to the run game, we started to play more physical because we know where they were going and we got more push. Then you add on the fact that Seth goes down, and now you have to find your pieces. And I always say this: those pieces just weren't happenstance that they filled in. It was the preparation and the process that it took to get them game ready. I think that gets overlooked so many times because we just think, oh, like that's what you do. No, man, there was a maturation of a Carson Hintzman and a Luke Montgomery and even Tegra. And I really like Tegra, but he did not have a really good game in that Michigan game. And then you start to roll guys through and you have competitive excellence and you put Austin in the mix. The thing that you said, Bob, was you had all of these young guys now through competitive excellence, through live bullets and situations after the Michigan loss, they were able to come together and have something to prove. And they did it very, very effectively. Again, you mentioned Tennessee was, I think it was a top 5 defensive line. Everybody said that. Oregon and the pressure that they put on in the first game at Oregon was a challenge, and they handled it easily. The Texas matchup, us being able to run the football and control the time of possession and be able to move. Again, it was funny. We're at 7th grade, 8th grade practice. Coach was like, what is the one thing that I need the offense to be able to do every single time you go out? And it's get 2 first downs. How do you do that? Well, however you got to do it. But more importantly, can you do it running the football, which allows your defense to have time to regroup and not just go 3 and out. If the offense go out every single time and get 2 first downs, you have a chance of 1, resting your defense, 2, and flipping the field. So you have this plethora of guys, and I believe they used 9 to 10 different starting combinations
Yeah.
last season. They all had an opportunity to play, not just in a game versus an Ohio or a Grambling that's coming up this season, but against great competition, the best of the best. You played Penn State at Penn State, semifinalists last year, great defense. Okay. And these guys all matured. Then you bring in some key pieces through the transfer portal, along with your recruiting class and younger guys that you're developing. Competitive excellence. They didn't go out there and bring 5 in. They brought 2 guys, one that was a starter at Minnesota and one that was a starter at Rice, who both of them are ginormous individuals. And that's what we're going to, and again, that's
So,
why it's kind of like I want to wait till I see the pads put on to where I can see what they can do. And here's the other sweet thing about the guys that we brought in. They got the opportunity to live out the national championship run and compete against our defense. And
yeah.
honestly, I had to say, hey, listen, this is for those guys. All right. You don't have to make your stance now of what you're going to do, but give them a look. And they gave them a great look and prepared them for what they were seeing in the college football playoff front, Bob.
So let's start with that. Ethan Onianwa, who was the transfer, came in from Rice. Senior transfer, big as a house, dude. I'm not even sure his dimensions, but he's like 6'6", 6'7"-ish, maybe 6. I don't know. He's huge. Thickest legs I've ever seen on a human.
They say he's 6'6", and he's not 6'6" in your bra, right? And he's also slimmed down. Like he's lost some weight. He looks really good.
Yeah, he's like slim from Happy Gilmore too. He really slimmed down Schlegs. But he has leaned up a little bit. He lost weight. He was like 360 pounds, which is, you can't play at that. He needed to get down, and he's lost weight with the Body by Maradi program. Looking good. I think a lot of people have him penciled in to be that left tackle starter. He's looked really good. Him and Ian Moore were battling back and forth. I think Ian Moore is going to be a really good player.
Ian's going to be and listen, guys, Ian Moore has the mindset that you want as an offensive lineman at Ohio State. Just so letting you guys know.
And I mean, there's a part of me that says if Ethan doesn't have a good camp, Ian Moore beats him out. I don't think that that's a probability, but I would say that that's still a possibility, like you said, Schleiss, because of he's a second-year player. He's worked. He's physical. He's got the mindset that you ultimately want. Really tough dude. And so that's kind of how that left side's going to look, where you lost a first-round tackle mid-season last year, who's going to probably be the left tackle for the Chiefs this year.
Hey, did you not see the jab that he threw at that guy? First off, that guy, he was running that dude out the club, and then the dude decided to push him, and he just gave him a straight. Josh. Like they had a little video of Josh, and he just straight up like boom right in that guy's face. I mean, I was
the
like,
knock on Joshua is people said he's like not really tough, doesn't love the game, because he's got like the hair. And I told him, man,
and he's got like a nose ring and stuff.
Ring. I go, bro, listen, man, I love you. Like, I don't care what you do. You want to get both nips pierced, have a chain from your ear to your nipple. I don't care what you do, man. Like, you be you. But I go, there are people that perceptually will think that that's different. Now he's a Cali guy, which anybody that deals recruiting Cali guys are just different. And that's okay. Yeah, let's play this because this is what you want to see out of Buckeye linemen. Oh, here we go. Oh, wait for it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right there, right. Don't mess with him, man. He's a strong dude, and people fight back. D linemen fight back when when people are getting after them. And so that's
when they lose, that is that's what they want to do.
Yeah, 100%. So you're replacing him, but and it's funny. I told him that, and he goes, yeah, Vrabel told me the same thing. I'm like, yeah, dude, because Vrabel cares about you. Like, whether he's going to be able to draft you or not, it doesn't matter. He wants you to be drafted, and he's going to give you the truth of what he thinks. So, Ethan Onianwa coming in, who was a starter at Rice, a lot of experience, had to get him integrated to the culture. You feel pretty good about that. Do you want to try to go to the other tackle side, Schlegs, or really let's talk about the other tackle, because I think the whole segment – because you're going to have to talk about guard, center, guard. We'll have to do that kind of in totality because that was a real mixing pot that was there. So last year, the right tackle was Josh Fryer, played a lot of ball. There were some physical limitations with Josh, a little stiff, but tough as nails, kind of the heartbeat, I think, of that offensive line. Nasty, get after it.
He was gas station ready.
Yeah, kind of you play a little guard, maybe a little tackle. Like, what's his position? Is he the best at any of them? Probably not, but he's a guy that can play a lot, and he's a guy that's tough as nails. So you love having him out there. So who are you going to play? They brought in Philip Daniels, who is actually, oh my gosh,
He's
Arizona
a redshirt sophomore.
redshirt sophomore, Paris Johnson's cousin, coming in. Big guy, physical, big frame. Played at Minnesota last year. Probably Schlegel, if he was a little more developed because he's a Cincinnati kid, would have been recruited a little heavier by Ohio State. But this is kind of the modern era of recruiting. You go somewhere else, you get some playing experience, you develop a little here. Ohio State can then bring you in, and you can have 2 or 3 years to kind of finish it off while you got some experience somewhere else playing. And now we'll put the finishing touches and help develop your body a little more. So he came in. I think he's a little maybe green, not to say that he can't start, but the thing is you have the Swiss Army knife in Austin Sareveld, who can play probably both guard spots that we saw and can also play right tackle. And as a lot of these position battles are going on this year, I think Ryan Day came out, if I'm not mistaken, and said, like, we're not sure where Austin's going to start, but he's going to be a starter on that offensive line because of, like you talk about getting your best 11 on defense, we got to get our best 5 on offense. And whether that's Austin at guard, whether that's Austin at tackle, they've got to figure that out. But I think right now, if things work the way that they hope they do, he would be slated for that right tackle position.
Yeah, Austin leg drive, as I like to call him, because they have one in there. And I know the guy that invented that great piece of equipment. Austin is, somebody put in the chat that he is the definition of a program guy. Like, he is a competitor. He, like, they do those sled pushes, Bob, and they do competitive excellence on it. He destroys their, like, the dude just wins and moves people. And at that right tackle position, in this competition, he just has a competitive advantage because he's been in the program a little bit longer and understands it. But he, like you said, he's very versatile, and I think he's going to do a great job at right tackle. And again, that's why I always reserve the right to say I can't wait to see the pads come on and what people are due and where they are and where's the depth and who can add value. Because just because somebody's slated at right tackle doesn't mean they're not going to go play guard. That's a fact.
But that's the thing, because if someone else is playing poorly at guard or someone else starts playing, if Daniels plays really well at tackle, so Ryan's like, he's going to start because you know what Austin is. Like, he's a known quantity. You don't have to put the pads on to see what he can do, because you already know how good and how talented he is. He may not be the most physically gifted guy you're going to find, but Austin's a guy that may never start consistently in the NFL, but he's a guy that will probably play a long time in the NFL because of his ability to probably, if he learns how to play center, play all 5 positions. And coaches love that. They're smart, they understand the game. They're a culture guy, like you said, the Austin leg drive, like, I'm going to destroy you on sleds. Like, he's always going to be the dude that is setting the tone in that room. And to be honest, I know there's more DBs now, but it's always, the offensive line's always been the biggest position group. It's 5 guys, 5 starters, always on the field all the time. Like, you might even put a 6th offensive lineman out there, but you're never having less than 5. You know why? Because the rules don't allow it. So you always have those guys out there. It's the biggest position group. And it's the one that impacts the game the most.
It does.
So getting that right tackle spot iced down, feel really good about that. If that's Austin, maybe he's at guard. Who knows? See how that ultimately plays out, with some of the other guys playing inside. But you feel good. He's going to be one of those dudes. See how Philip Daniels keeps playing. Maybe he develops a lot more and gives them flexibility to move him around. But it wouldn't also shock me if he's maybe one of the captains as well, just based upon what he brings to the table and his leadership elements that are there.
And he's he's a redshirt sophomore. He's a 3rd-year guy. And that's the other thing, like him and Philip Daniels, they're relatively the same size. And I saw Austin in there the other day when I went in and talk shop with the strength staff. But he looked fantastic. And I also said, you're a 20-year-old receding hairline. Once you get that money,
receding, coach. Coach, it's already receded. Precision. It is back. I told him, just shave it, bro. Shave it. He was talking about getting the powders, the shampoos.
I told him about that.
That's for Schlegs and I, man. I go, when you're 40 and try to keep it, if you lose your hair at 20, just shave your head and call it a day.
I'd say this too, real fast, is the fact, like, they're both very similar in size. So it's not like one guy has an advantage, like longer arm, more height, whatever. They're both 6'5", 315, 320. You know, and Daniels has lost weight because he came in, I remember, from Minnesota. He was probably hovering around that like 335 range. So he looks really good now. So, anyways, it's going to be a great competition. And again, Austin's going to be one of the 5.
Well, and it's not always how much you weigh, it's what weight you're carrying. And the weight he's carrying now, I guarantee, is a lot better than the weight he had before. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back, do the guard, center guard, coming up next on the Bobby Carpenter Show. All right, now let's take a look at the guard, center guard here on the Bobby Carpenter Show. And listen, if you're liking, please subscribe, leave your comments, questions, all of that. Share it with friends. We love doing this. If you're watching online or watching on FanDuel TV, we appreciate it. All right, now looking inside. So last year, Schlegs, you had Donovan Jackson starting at left guard. You had Seth McLaughlin starting at center. And then you had Tegra Shabola starting at right guard. And that's kind of how it looked for a long time. Tegra had kind of an up and down year, played well sometimes, did not play well against Michigan. That was probably his worst game, I would say, as a Buckeye, at least last year. Started rotating guards. He started playing better then throughout the playoff runs. He could have taken that 2 ways, taken his ball, gone home. Like, oh, coach said I played a bad game. We're going to rotate guys. I'm going to quit. I'm going to go transfer somewhere else. No, he's an Ohio guy. Let's step up and play. Huge frame. Like, people thought he might be big guy, wide dude, like ability to carry a lot of mass and still move. And then Carson Hinsman, who started the entire previous season at center. And so they bring Seth in, and we talked to both Seth and him about their relationship, their experience, their battle, and how much Carson probably learned. Not probably. Carson said how much he learned from Seth, and how Seth just praised him, like his physical ability. And we talked about how Carson is one of the solid gold guys. Like every attribute he has that they measure. If you can't measure, you can't manage it, Schlegs. And height, weight, speed, strength, short-term quickness, all the different strength elements, explosion, all of that. He's gold. He's elite in all of them. And he was very proud of that. And, like, that's something you work for. Like,
should be proud.
Like in Arvell Reese, there's a lot of guys that are close. Everybody's got something they may be a little deficient at. So it's hard to be great in everything. And so if you can do that, that's good. I think, Carson's the center. I can't imagine him not being. Josh Padilla is really good too, though. So they've got a pretty good backup in mind. And should Carson have to slide to guard or something, Padilla looked really good last year. And there was even a thought that they keep Carson at guard and then move Padilla into center after Seth got hurt. But Carson played really well down the stretch. He's physical. He's smart. He learned a lot. Also, Schlegs didn't take his ball and go home after he got benched. Seth came in, viewed it as a learning opportunity, and decided to go out there and I'm going to compete. I'm going to learn from this guy. And it's amazing how it works in life when you lean into your opportunities. Because to quote Abe Lincoln, a lot of people miss opportunities because they're covered in overalls and look like work. And so Austin leaned on in and said, I'm going to get better as a dude and as a player. And he did. So he's at center. And so now you're looking at your 2 guards. Luke Montgomery started rotating last year with Tegra and Austin. They had like a little 3-man weave among the 2 guard positions. And so that was pretty good. And Luke was a guy that people thought, hey, coming in, should have played early. I know he was frustrated he didn't play earlier. He was a guy that they probably thought was going to play some tackle. Maybe he's a little better suited to play guard. Also didn't take his ball and went home. And I love talking to these guys because everybody comes in, Schlegs, and they have this belief that I'm going to come in, I'm going to start as a freshman, start as a sophomore, linear track, and then I'm out of there, which isn't chop wood, carry water. You know that that's not how life works. And sometimes there's some setbacks. But Luke played really well down the stretch in the national championship game, played really well against Tennessee. There was a play that I watched him make, bang, bang, combo block. I'm like, if he doesn't make that, Trey has a touchdown, but Luke had to climb to get the linebacker and did a great job. getting up to that level and just mashing the guard. So I've talked too much. You go ahead.
No, you're beautiful, man. Like Luke is very athletic. And let's go back to Carson. Carson was on the show. You're right. Josh Padilla. And I always called him Padilla, like an armadillo.
Like Quesadilla?
Yeah, Quesadilla. Josh, good center, great backup, could do some things, could be a starter. Carson has an opportunity to be in Remington this year, man.
Yeah.
He has all the qualities that you mentioned. You go look at Luke. Luke himself is a very athletic guard, not necessarily like height wise his big stature, but he's just a big dude that can move and he can move people. And that was that competitive excellence. And the best thing that you said about even this interior lineman, Terry kind of got the nod. He is a big guy. And I remember Chip Kelly talking about like
first off the bus
like
guy.
him.
He's a first off the bus guy.
Right. And I saw him at a Devin Jordan event and he's so happy with everything, how it played out. Loves Coach Fry, loves Coach Bowen, is being developed, feels good. It's the best he's ever felt. Like he doesn't have knee pain, like which he was going through last year a little bit. No excuses. But competitive excellence, man, just starts to infuse into your genetics once you've trained it so often that I'm excited to watch how this all plays out. And to everybody out there, yes, we also have, they said this, like how many coaches do we have now on the offensive line? Well, we have 3. Okay,
Yeah.
So you got Tyler Bowen, you got Marcus Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Marcus Johnson was, the old-line coach for Purdue previously, and he was at Duke and Mississippi State. And Charlie Dickey, who is at Arizona, Washington, Utah, of course, and Oklahoma State. Like, dude's got 35 years experience. And Tyler.
It reminds me of your dad. If your dad was coaching on the staff, he would be Charlie Dickey. Every time I see him, I think of Roger Schlegel walking through there.
That's how he is. You're 100% accurate on that, Bob. So, one, they got a great staff around him. And Coach Fry, God love him, he was coaching everybody. An assistant, but and I think he ended up going to UNLV. It was just those 2. Now you got 3 over for 5. Wow. Just another set of eyeballs and a lot of experience within that room to talk shop and develop. The best comment.
Hold on. I'm going to pause this. You're going to save the best thing for our headlines coming up after this. Put that in your mind. Don't lose it, CTE. Don't let it. Write it down if you have to, because I want to tell you about our friends over at Backer, bckr.com. Premium Buckeye gear for the premium Buckeye fan. It's hot right now. It will be cold. That's how Ohio works. It's going to rain. It's going to be windy. They have all of the awesome apparel there to help keep you warm, keep you dry. It's got all the features you want. It looks good. It feels good. They've got hats. They're bringing out bucket hats. They've got more stuff there. And a portion of the proceeds go back to NIL. Use promo code all caps BOBBY at checkout for free expedited shipping. Again, that's Backer, bckr.com. Go check them out. More of the Bobby Carpenter Show coming up next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
All right, welcome into our headlines brought to you by our friends at Lake Spur Marketing, full service marketing ad agency, trust, strategy, performance. That's what they're built on. From the digital ad placement to broadcast buys, creative, everything in between, Lake Spur has you covered. They're a full service agency. At Lake Spur Marketing, they don't have a set it, forget it strategy. They customize these things directly to your industry, directly to your needs as a company. All their tactics are going to fit the plan. Leave your marketing to them so you can do what you do best, which is work on your own business. Let them help you grow it. Lake Spur Marketing, the proof is in their partners. Visit lakespurmarketing.com today. All right, Schlegs, I want to hear the nugget that you're about to give. The best part.
Lake Spur Marketing are both showers and growers. There you go. That was not my nugget. So my nugget, I actually did write it down, Bob.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Tegra at the Devin Jordan event. And, I was like, tell me about you guys. Like, what is it that you love about the power of the unit and the offensive line unit? Having three coaches, and again, this is kind of like a work-life balance thing, but I remember in Jacksonville when guys wanted to train, like we open, man. Like my job is to allow you to maximize your potential and keep you safe and extend your career. Like that's it. That's my job. They're always open to be able to go talk to a coach, and they all watch ball and talk ball together. When I heard that, especially from an offensive line, when you got to communicate and you're getting multiple fronts and doing different things, just like defense communication is paramount. Same thing with the offensive line. Who's the mic? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? But that continuity of being able to go and critique each other. And Will Kazmarek said it great when he was on the show they do in the tight end room, but that permeates throughout the entire offense. But it's great to hear when it comes from the offensive line.
That's great.
And side nugget. Here's the thing. Oh, you know what? We'll say that for tailgate talk. I got one.
All right. Well, I mean, there's lots of side nuggets out there, but that's it's great to see those guys all buying in. Like the offensive line did not play well against Michigan, and they underwent a lot of movement, and I give those guys a ton of credit for sticking the course. Ryan Day staying the course. Greg Fry, or Justin Fry, Justin Fry. Remember how much heat he was taking, Schlegs, early in the season? How like they weren't good offensive line.
Can't recruit. You got nothing.
Yeah. I'm the problem. It's me. Like that was Justin Fry, and that's how I'm like, dude. People go, why do you defend him? I go, because I watch him coach. I knew he's a good coach. If I didn't think he was a good coach out there, I would tell you, or I wouldn't at least be positive about him. And I watch him coach. I'm like, this guy knows his stuff. He's able to communicate. The players buy in. That doesn't mean that it's like replacing an alternator in your car. Like, oh, so like say, you know what? Our inside zone wasn't great this week. Hey, here, let's just drop this new drill in. And all of a sudden, proof David Copperfield, we're fixed in one individual session. Like that's not how it works. Especially with the offensive line, you've got five guys plus a tight end plus running backs that have to seamlessly work together where they're all seeing the same vision. So A, they're able to physically execute their blocks. And then B, they're able to also know where to go and what to do with the shifting and the movement up front. So a lot of different things you see. And the thing is with Ohio State, when you have a offense as proficient as theirs, the other thing is you see a lot of different looks because people are just trying to throw dirt at the wall to see what sticks. So like you're going to see a lot of different things. Like, well, we watched them against an even front and odd front. We saw this. So let's try something like this. We'll start slanting and moving and new alignments and shifting. So you're going to see things because you're just that good, and that's how it's ultimately going to work. All right, that's it for our tailgate talk. We got that's it for our headlines. We got tailgate talk with our friends from Real Truck coming up next. All right, Schlegs, tailgate talk brought to you by our friends at Real Truck. You said you've got one in here about Nick Brown rotating guys, how it's going to work. Good question there. Let's toss that up.
Bob, why don't you hit it first, man? Like rotate guys, And somebody else also threw in the chat. Are we ever going to talk about punters and kickers? And
to quote Urban Meyer, you're a kicker.
Exactly. You guys, that's laughable. So let's talk about my philosophy on this rotation deal.
We can touch on specialists, but they'll be at the very end.
All right, so let's talk about like rotating guys. Here's the thing. Offensive line, much like defense, but just I'll say, you know what? No, not much like different. It is different because they got to be on the field together, communicating. And it's honestly like, when is the timing? When I go and I try to reach this one technique and the center rubs off, like how much time does it take for him to get there? And then to get to the next level for me to rip across that guy's face. That's timing. Okay. Just like if you run blitzes on defense, like it takes timing with those guys to run good blitzes. And we run them over and over and over again. How I like to rotate. They got to make sure you get your series in. If you're playing Grambling, you're playing a team like Ohio, like the goal is you get through the first half and the first series, maybe second series in the second half, and then you can pull them out and get live bullets to the other guys. But as far as you rotating guys in the mix, I like for them to be as solid as I possibly could be, understanding where the game is and on all those different things. Last year, it was a have to. It was different. This year, as of right now, it's not. It's not necessary. They're especially in camp. Like you're going to see some guys rotate a little bit, but we've already talked about it. You're going to see the right tackle competition, and you're going to see what that looks like up front. Maybe to get some load off of some guys that they're expecting big years, and a Padilla that can do a good job. Yeah, he might get some ones when you pull Carson out, or they might want to see what the look looks like with the Daniels and Austin as a guard. Like they might want to just see like a snapshot of what that could look like before you go into the first game. You will see that happen during camp, but in the season, like once you get to that point, you already know who your five are going to be.
Well, and what I think you hope, Schlegs, and Nick put this out there as well. There's a couple of ones above him as well. Nick Brown said, I feel like the rotation on the O-line last year helped us get through a long season, but you could counter that with staying consistent, builds comfortability and continuity, which I do believe is correct, like you to your point. But hopefully there will be a point, Schlegs, that this year they will be able to hopefully you're up in games a little bit and you can get Padilla in, you can get Ian Moore, and you can get some of those guys some playing time and make sure they're getting a series or two so that if the opportunity comes, they're going to be ready to go and they'll be ready to rock. So that's one of the benefits, hopefully, of after Texas. I mean, you'll feel like you know who your guys are, and if they play well, a lot of those guys played together last year, and they played together for that run. The problem was, last season, I mean, you were trying to kind of break in a whole new offensive line and guys moving around a lot, whereas this year, a lot of those guys played already. They've been in it together, so hopefully they'll get some experience for some of the young guys as they begin to move forward. All right, coming up next, Schlegs, it's your time for your closing thoughts. Due to the week is not going to be till Friday.
I was talking about week 6. I was talking about week 6. Do you want to talk about it now? You want to say
the week 6 dudes of the week? They've been kind of dumping some of these out here now. And so the week 6 dudes of the week, Schlegs will give his thoughts on that coming up next. All right, Schlegs.
dudes of the week, baby? Hey, so when you look at like the tight end position, Max Clare, Will Kazmarek, Jelani, Bennett Christian. Yeah, it is Bennett Christian because there's a comma. Because it's like Christian Bennett, but it's not. There's a comma. But then you got our guys, Will Smith Jr. and the little pit bull himself. And so here's the thing: week 6, you want to finish strong, right? You don't want to be looking toward camp. You want to finish it out to have these 3 because there is a role for a Bennett Christian on this team. He's a very good physical tight end, adds value. Brandon Ennis, going to be your slot, adds a tremendous amount of value, and is an absolute dog. And somebody that you've been talking a lot about, Bob, Will Smith Jr., great that he finished strong due to the week 6, which, again, these aren't given out lightly. They are 100% earned. And you've earned the last week of being the dude of the week. That's great as you go into camp because there's a lot of expectations for you and how you're going to add value to this year's team.
Absolutely. And Will Smith's one of those guys. For this team to be as good as they need to be in RYFP, Schlegs, reach your full potential, Will Smith's going to have to be a guy that plays, and he's going to have to be a guy that plays well. So he's got it in him. We know it's the ability's in there. He's been a little nicked up. Hopefully he can stay healthy. But they don't just give out dude of the week and rotate it around. It's not just a participation trophy for going to workouts. It's for the guys that grind. They spend a lot of time voting on it and figuring it out. So that's that. That's it for today. We got Buckeye practice tomorrow. It is finally here for July 31st. Can't wait for it. We'll catch up then here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.